Specifically, SMS has a 45% response rate compared to 6% with email. If you look at a list or you have campaigns, you have customers applying to you, and you take that same list and run it through a Textdrip campaign, you will notice significantly higher response rates and higher results.
You're listening to Customer Growth Sessions presented by Intergrowth, where we talk through strategies to help up-and-coming e-commerce businesses bring in more customers. I'm your host, Pat Ahern. Let's jump in.
All right, listeners, welcome back to the latest episode of Customer Growth Sessions. Today, I'm thrilled to have on Phil Portman, the founder, CEO, and I guess we'll say serial entrepreneur over at Textdrip. Phil, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me, Pat.
Pleasure to have you on today. Can you start out by giving us an overview of what Textdrip does?
Yeah, so Textdrip is a business texting platform, and we focus on deliverability and helping customers get results. We found that most CRMs out there are very email-centric, and they kind of threw on texting as this afterthought. And texting has not only the best results, but it's also the most preferred way of communication, better than phone, email, and even face-to-face interaction. So we thought, well, what if we make the best form of communication, the best way people want to be communicated, central component of our entire platform? And we did that with Textdrip. Not only that, we're the absolute experts in everything texting. So even if you're not a Textdrip customer of ours, if you ever feel like reaching out and you have texting questions, please feel free to. But we stay on top of the industry, and we're the absolute experts when it comes to business texting.
And to me, SMS as a form of marketing, I think I first started hearing about it less than 10 years ago. I would guess it was 2018 was when I started hearing e-com brands really talk about it regularly. So I still look at it as such a new marketing industry that's emerged. In your eyes, is it a no-brainer investment for every single e-com brand that's out there? Are there certain brands that you would say like, hey, by far you're going to see the best results in these industries, or if you have these character traits versus, hey, if you have these character traits, if you're in these industries, maybe give it a second thought. That might not be the right investment for you.
Yeah, specifically, if you've had results in phone sales, email sales, I'd say texting is going to be a great addition to that. Not to replace those. They're still everything from social media marketing to email to texting. They're part of an omni-channel solution, and each component has a separate role in your overall marketing to customers. So it's not a matter of one switch or the other. It's a collective omni-channel solution. The customers that it doesn't work for are the customers that we can't text to. And those are marijuana. We can't, even if it's legal in your state, we just unfortunately can't text through them. Short-term loans, weapons, things like that. We can't, they're federally prohibited from sending text messages. So aside from those few industries that we can't, we have a solution for you. And I'd say if you add it to your overall marketing solution, you'll see tremendous results. Specifically, SMS has a 45% response rate compared to 6% with email. If you look at a list or you have campaigns, you have customers applying to you, and you take that same list and run it through a Textdrip campaign, you will notice significantly higher response rates and higher results, as long as your messaging is tailored correctly for SMS market.
So let's do a deep dive. Let's assume that we're talking to the listener who has never rolled out an SMS marketing campaign. They're looking at you, they're saying, hey, Phil, we're sold, we want to get started, but we have no idea where to begin. Can we talk through some of the first steps that are going to go into building out that campaign?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing is the opt-in procedure for texting. That's incredibly important. And fortunately, when you come on board with Textdrip, we help you create a compliant landing page where you can have direct your customers to, and as long as they fill out that form, they'll be 100% compliant. It's got all the necessary language and everything like that to get the leads into the system. You can do that if you have an existing email campaign. You can direct them to the page, or social media or SEO. You can direct them to that. If you already have an existing web page you want to use, then we'll help instruct you on what you need to do inside that page to make sure that you're getting the correct compliance that you need. The next thing you want to do is clean your list. And we have a platform called Landline Remover that gets rid of numbers that you're not going to be able to text to anyways because they're landlines or they're VoIP numbers or something like that that you can't actually text to. Disconnected numbers, as well as we identify DNC and known litigators. Now, you may be saying, like, how many numbers are we actually going to get that are landline these days? Well, you'd be surprised. A lot of people have these phone numbers that they've been using for years strictly for marketing purposes. My mother is an example of that. She has an old landline number that she continues to sign up for things with. She doesn't even have a landline anymore. She signs up with it because she knows they're going to try to contact her through it. Well, the problem is when we start using that in a campaign, if we get a lot of failures on that, the carriers are going to be like, what the heck? Why are you trying to send to disconnected numbers? And it lowers the overall deliverability on top of the fact that you're spending money to message numbers that are never going to receive it. So huge benefit to running it through landline remover from that standpoint. And then the other side is we help you identify known litigators. And these are people whose sole job is to put their information out on the internet, get you to contact them so that they can send you an email saying, hey, I got you. Now send me $5,000 or I'm going to take you to court, right? And so we help you weed out some of that stuff. The next thing that we're going to help you go through is build out your campaign. So at this point, we've got opted-in leads, we got a clean list, and now we're going to help you build out the messaging. There's a few things, whether you're using our platform or another platform, that you must have in texting in this day and age, 2025 and on, you must have in your texting. And that is, first of all, it needs to have your brand name. Who is it that's contacting them? I had a company that was messaging me about a bill to be paid, and they had a link on there, but they never identified themselves. And I kept getting this text message month and month, and I, of course, ignored it. I'm like, this must be a phishing scam. I'm not going to click a link inside there. Well, finally, they send me the brand name, and I'm like, oh, my God, that's the company I do owe them money. Yeah, and I was like, oh, my, if they had started that way, it would have been a completely different story. I still didn't click the link. I went to their website and paid for it, but I had no idea that was the company that was trying to contact me. Always include your brand name in there. Not only is it important for building your brand, the more repetitious that people see it, the more often they see your brand, the more they're going to associate with the brand, the more they're going to trust the brand, right? But also it helps them understand who they're engaging with, what they're dealing with, and that you're not a scam, you're a real company. So first thing, make sure you have your brand name in there. Make sure your messaging content is a response to an inquiry. Right? So, hey, I just received your message online. When do you want to jump on a call to talk about this? Not, I have a product or service for a lot of people like you. Could you use my product and service? That is a cold outreach. And the carriers now have algorithms to identify these overseas scammers and people just blasting out messages. And one of the key things that they're looking for, is this a response to an inquiry or is this cold outreach? So make sure that you're responding to an inquiry, responding to someone requesting information on your website or through a link that you had emailed them. So far, we got clean the list. Make sure that your brand name is included in there, and then make sure that it's a response on cold outreach. And then the last thing is a clear opt-out. And this goes for email or texting. If you don't give somebody a way to remove themselves from your list and a clear opt-out, they will flag you as spam, right? If they don't have a way to say, hey, I don't need your service, sorry, it's not applicable to me, then they'll end up flagging you for spam. And if the spam rating gets high enough, then they'll end up canceling your campaign. You won't be able to send messages through it. If you follow those basic guidelines, along with some of the other stuff that we have, like there's certain keywords you can't use because, they're prohibited, or scammers are sent out a lot that have those keywords in there. We guide a lot of that stuff through it on the platform as well to help you navigate that. But that's kind of a basic overview of what you need to send out a clear campaign.
Phil, that was phenomenal. So as a follow-up within there, I think to the email marketing side of things, and I know one of the biggest best practices that have been taught to me since day one is email warming. Make sure you're sending out a bunch of emails to qualified recipients who are going to open the email, who are going to respond to the email. I would assume there's something similar for the SMS side of things, but can you talk through that side of building out your first SMS campaign and how, call it SMS warming, really comes into play?
Yeah. So the interesting thing is it has more to do nowadays with how long your business has been around. Interesting enough. So the thing that you have to do now is you register for a campaign if you're sending messaging and you submit your business information. This is Phil's Real Estate Service LLC, and I'm the one registering it. I'm going to send messages through this. If you have a business that's less than 6 months old or a year old, you're going to have a lower threshold of the amount of messaging that you can send through it. If you have a business that's 5+ years old, they lift the volume limitations on it that you can ultimately send. Along with that, though, what I would say is if you start off your campaign and you have a high rate of failures and a high rate of spam and a high rate of opt-out, those three categories, failures, spam, and opt-out, then yes, you will start limiting the amount of messages that you can send because you'll start getting blocked and throttled by the carriers. We provide you that information on our dashboard. So you're constantly looking at that information so that you can monitor that. And we tell you when you need to, what's going on. You need to look into it. And oftentimes we'll tell you to get on a call with us because we want to look through what you're doing. And sometimes it's as simple as the messaging is missing something. The messaging is worded in a certain way that the carriers, AI, and algorithms think that you're spamming people, right? Sometimes it's a very simple thing. But once we get that corrected, we have a healthy account sending healthy messaging with low spam, low opt-out, low failure on deliverability. Then we start seeing messages go through over time. So yes, there's a little bit of kind of a warming process to it because you're building reputation with the carriers, but they have come a really long way in how that's done now. And they instantly know you could have an account that you've been sending messages through for 5 years. All of a sudden, one day you blast out a spam message and they all start getting blocked. So it's important that you're constantly keeping up on sending out clean messages.
Wow. Oh, that's amazing. So I want to jump back to one of the things you mentioned before, which is making sure that you are sending ultimately SMS messages as a form of response to an inquiry.
Yes.
So can you walk through some of the use cases that, let's say I'm running, I use the example of like a razor blade brand pretty often. Let's say I'm running a razor blade brand. I'm looking to figure out how can I use SMS. Can you give me some examples of what I might think about doing SMS marketing for to boost sales, boost engagement? Would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Amazon is the ultimate double-edged sword when it comes to generating sales. It's an incredible source of revenue for e-com brands, but become too successful and you risk Amazon creating the Amazon Basics version of your product and taking away all your sales. We see it happen all the time, and that's why we help businesses to build a second customer acquisition machine before they lose their Amazon sales. Interested in hearing more? Reach out to us at intergrowth.com/CGS to book a complimentary strategy session with our team. Once again, that's intergrowth.com/CGS. All right, back to the show.
Yeah, absolutely. So SMS, very powerful tool. You can't ignore SMS. Most of us can. I mean, if you look at your phone right now, how many unread emails do you have? I don't know what your answer is, but for me, it's like 50,000. There's plenty of unread emails in there. But other than text messages that have come in on this call right now, I probably have none, maybe one or two since it came in on this call. Text messages is one of those things you have to read. You don't want to have too many unread notifications in there, right? So that's why it has a 90-second open rate compared to the average of the email is somewhere around 90 minutes. Right? It's like hey, we need your response now. It's got to be fast. It's got to be actionable. And so when you're sending out a message to somebody, yes, it honestly needs to be a response because that's what the carriers are looking for. Like, hey, did they actually ask something for you or are you just cold outreach into them? But then secondly, it needs to be something that is applicable to that individual user. So what we say is segment your user lists. You want a user list based on type, based on area, based on whatever it is that you're selling. So if you're selling a razor or replacements or something to that, you are selling it specifically to them because in that moment, you have a sale for them. You have something that works with the type of razor brand that they use. You have a coupon that's specific to them. You know that they're coming up and needing refills and it's perfect timing for it, right? We're not sending out something blanket like a women's razor when they're a man, right? Like, unless you somehow know that they have a spouse or a partner. But other than that, you need to make sure that you're segmenting your messaging so that it's applicable to the individual that you're trying to contact. And that's one of the best policies that you have in any marketing, but in specifically text marketing, because it's such a powerful tool. People can't just go, oh, it's just another email and ignore it. They're boom, it's in your face. Act now, right? And if you blast out a cold thing that's not applicable, you're going to get a lot of people that say, hey, this isn't applicable to me, spam or opt out. And then you start seeing higher rates on those.
So I want to unpack some of the nuance within that, because part of what I'm hearing is they need to opt in some manner before you can start texting them. And then from there, it needs to be a really relevant offer designed specifically for that person. So razor blades probably are a really obvious example. I want to make it a little bit more challenging for you. Let's say I have a high-end pillow brand, because I think this will be more challenging and I want to put you on the spot here. I sell someone a brand new pillow. In what context could I text that individual, whether it's 6 months, 12 months down the road, seeing if I can get them to buy a new pillow or get them to buy some follow-up product for that pillow specifically?
Yeah, absolutely. So with those type of things, you would run a multi-channel campaign, right? So we would run, like, let's say we ran a campaign through SEO, ads, social media, whatever. We had somebody go to a campaign and they were purchasing, they had it in their cart, they were looking at something on your site, didn't end up buying. Well, when we have an abandoned cart message that goes to them when we run a sale that says this is an abandoned customer segment that we want to send a message out to because we know that they're interested. They opted in when they added it to the cart, filled out the form, however you got their contact information at the time, or you nurtured their information over time. Like, hey, we run periodic promotions. Would you like to sign up for the list and find out for the immediate promotion? Then we send out a message that says, we are offering 20% off to our first 100 people that respond, right? So it's a limited time call to action. There's even some FOMO things in there where they don't want to miss out on it. And we're grabbing their attention really well. So we're looking for, yes, the opt-in, but we're looking for something that's very specific to them, that we can create this excitement, this urgency, that if I don't act now, I'm going to miss out on this sale, this offer, this whatever it is going on, right? Could be that they were shopping for a gift, right? They were looking for the holiday season. So maybe it's a reminder that, hey, you were looking for this gift. Christmas is coming up now. It would be a perfect revisit for the gift that you're looking for, or something like that. It has to be appropriate to the time of year that you're going, obviously, but those are the type of things that we're looking for. So you still get the opt-out. You can get it through your website. You can get it through email or one of the various ads platforms as well.
Now, I want to talk about logistics of, let's say, building and managing an SMS campaign. Let's say I'm more or less a solo founder. Maybe I have a couple people working with me, but I'm the founder, let's say, more or less handling all marketing for the business. Is SMS the type of thing I can sit down for 5-10 hours over the course of a week and kind of like set it and forget it? Is there some ongoing maintenance work that I'm going to need to do? Talk me through that a little bit.
Yeah, a little of both. Yeah. So we have a lot of tools where you can have direct communication with your customers if that's what you want to have. We've got a beautiful mobile app, our web app. We have a Mac, Windows, any type of application where if you want to interact back and forth with your customers on a regular basis, you certainly can. And I'm a big advocate of that. All of our platforms have a less than 30-second response rate for customer service. I think that's a big differentiator between our platform and other companies, is they want to send you through like endless forums and so you have to figure things out for yourself. Whereas with us, you can call, text, email, chat support, whatever, in under 30 seconds, 7 days a week, you're contacting somebody live. So I think that's really important. A lot of the other features we have are automated. So you put somebody on a drip campaign where they go on to your website, they request information, and then they get periodic drips over whatever period of time you want. You can go out as long as you want, and they'll continue receiving drip messages. You can then automate it further. So if somebody responds in a certain way or certain fashion, we use, which is another one of our brands, Positive Intent AI, to understand that this person is now interested. Where do we want to funnel them in the flow in that process to get a hold of them? So a lot of that stuff is handled automatically. And then inside our platform, we have different pipelines that you can drag and drop your leads into. So you can organize them better if you are somebody who wants to work them individually. You can send them back to a website. You can put keywords in there. We have merge fields. A lot of this sounds confusing, but once you get it set up, you don't change it too often unless something changes with your promotion, maybe time of year offers you want to do, things like that. In any of those situations, including coming on board with us, you can schedule a call with a demo specialist who will help you set up that campaign. So you are never on your own alone with Textdrip. You don't even pay for this. You just come on, it's free as part of the platform. You go onto a Calendly link, pick a time, schedule it, get on face-to-face with somebody like we're talking right now and say, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. Can you help me build out this campaign? And they will help you build out a campaign that's going to be the most effective, most compliant. So you're not going to have, problems with deliverability and things like that. And ultimately get you the best response you're looking for.
Amazing. I was going to say that saves a ton of time. I was going to ask you to do a deep dive on how do I find a great SMS specialist who can oversee this for me. It sounds like just go to you guys and you'll do a lot of that work for free. That's amazing.
Yeah, because we want you to have the best results on the platform. And rather than trying to guess, just come on with us. We do have a lot of great articles. We have an entire blog. We put out regular videos and webinars and things like that can certainly help you if you want to do it on your own. But I really encourage, we offer this for free. And I don't know why more people don't take advantage of it. You can jump on any point in time and go on there and just say, hey, this is what I'm looking to do. This type of campaign I'm typing to run. This is what I want to do. And they will help you walk you through it, how to set it up. And then things periodically change in the industry as well. There's constant changes in keywords we can't use anymore, the way we have to phrase messages. There's all sorts of changes. And by getting on with a demo specialist, you're making sure that your messaging is going to be most effective when it reaches carriers.
Brilliant. Phil, in call it 20 minutes that we've been recording, you've dropped so many gems for things to keep in mind with SMS. I'm curious if there are any other like really costly mistakes that you see brands making when they're rolling out SMS. Obviously, you've covered a lot of ground here, but curious if anything else stands out to you that we haven't gotten into yet today.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a bunch of keywords out there that we talked early on about what industries can't, right? Like there's marijuana, there's weapons you can't sell, things like that. Well, there's keywords that are associated with that you don't realize that are associated with that. Or let's say some overseas scammer just started blasting out messages and they include a certain keyword in there or links to things that you don't realize that are in there. Well, on our platform, we actually highlight those in red when you're going through and creating it. So if you accidentally plug it in there, you'll know that it's a bad word. You don't want it in there. The other thing that is problematic on an initial message that people don't talk about is URLs, specifically link shorteners. They will get your messages blocked consistently. If you are going to send a link to somebody, it needs to be after they respond to you. And this is a big tip. You will kill your deliverability if you send out, hey, Pat, we got this great offer. Click here for this link. It's less problematic if it's a direct link to your site. It's more problematic if it's a short link, if you're using like a bit.ly or something like that to short link it. But the best way to do that is, hey, I got this great offer. Let me know if it's something you'd like to use, or if you want to do a keyword response, respond back with offer 66 or whatever, and I'll respond back to it. We have both options. You can do keyword or you can do intent-based, where if they respond back positively, it's automatically going to send this whatever chain of reaction to it. But the best way is before you send a link, get some sort of response from that customer before you send them a link. Otherwise, you do risk them thinking that you're one of those overseas scammers trying to get people to click a link as part of some phishing scam or something like that. So that's probably one of the biggest ones that I could think of that people don't realize they're burning their campaigns.
Struggling to get new customers? We're here to help. Hey, this is Pat, the host of Customer Growth Sessions. Our agency, Intergrowth, has been helping e-commerce brands like Bella Bridesmaids, Brevity, and JS Dental to get more customers online since 2016. Interested in seeing how we'd help you? Head over to intergrowth.com/CGS to book a complimentary consultation with me. That's intergrowth.com/CGS. All right, back to the show.
So, Phil, last thing I want to dive into today. You've started many businesses. You're a farmer on the side as well. You have a family. A lot of listeners, I think, can relate in really struggling to juggle a lot of different balls while they're running their e-com business, especially when they're in the early stages. How do you juggle all these balls at once? How do you manage to balance everything time-wise?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. So I have a podcast that's called Success Is, and I interview successful people from a variety of different backgrounds. And selfishly, I want to learn from successful people. Like, what are they doing that sets them apart? And are there common attributes that I see between these highly successful people that I could learn from, right? And one of the top things that I've noticed from highly successful people is they all read. Every single one of them. I have yet to meet somebody who I could say, hey, what book are you reading right now? And they'll go, oh, yeah, I'm reading this one right here. I got this book. This one I'm reading. They are all continuous learners. They're continually learning about their business, their trade, themselves, their leadership, their relationships. And they're not afraid to apply what they're learning to themselves. Okay. There's a principle called the Peter Principle. Are you familiar with this?
I'm not.
And so it basically says that people are promoted to their level of incompetence. Okay. So you had success in previous positions, but you got promoted, and then you got a glass ceiling, and then you just reached your capacity, right? And we try to do that in business, but you can do that to yourself if you aren't constantly changing to the new role that you take on. For example, with me, my work ethic, my constant hustle, grind mentality worked really good in the beginning. Back when I didn't have money or knowledge or any of that stuff, what I had was I could outwork anybody. I grew up one of 7 children, poor. We were raised by a single mother, so we were out delivering newspapers at night with her and cleaning houses during the day. Like, we had that work ethic instilled in us. But that started becoming a roadblock. It started becoming a bottleneck when my business started growing because I wanted to be involved in everything. And what I actually found was that I had this anxiety that I couldn't stop working. And it was obstructing my business. Until I dealt with that anxiety, that ability to find rest, to find peace, to work on that. And a lot of those things I found through reading and self-education, but also focusing on myself inward. But until I focused on those things, fixed those things, and cleared those roadblocks, I couldn't see the expanse of my business that I see today. And when I was able to clear those, man, I saw my businesses flourish. I was able to run multiple companies at the same time without me getting in the way of their success. But all of that comes back to continuing to educate myself and then continuing to apply what I'm learning to my own self and continue to work on myself. So that's the biggest thing that I could say to you is continue to learn. There's a statistic that 42% of college students never read a full book again after college. They never read a book again. Whereas your top CEOs read roughly 1 book a week. So do you want to be, a top CEO world, or you want to be the average person out there never reading a book again? The choice is yours, but the results are there. So I'd highly recommend continue to educate, self-educate, and apply that to yourself. It's been the biggest thing that's helped me in my journey.
I love it. All right, Phil. So I lied because I want to ask one follow-up question based on everything you shared there. I see that in a lot of other founders that I talk to, and I see a lot of that in myself, that tendency to, I would describe it as feel comfort in overworking and almost falling back on that, as I think there's probably a lot of reasons that could come into play, but that tendency, let's say broadly, to overwork and to feel comfort in overworking and to know that's the way that you can win and needing to eventually escape beyond that mindset. I'm curious if you can give listeners one book or one resource that you would recommend they explore if they're looking to maybe exit that stage of their own life?
Yeah. So, well, honestly, my book, if you really want to exit, and the 3 keys to success, I do talk a lot about that. One of the things that really helped me, and I referenced the book in here, is Atomic Habits. Okay. And
Great book.
if you read the book, so it not only talks about developing good habits, but it's also about identifying bad habits. And if you take a look at your time and take a look at your day and what you're doing and where you're spending the time at, you'll often find that you have these little things that you're doing, like constantly checking your phone because you're getting notifications on it, right? Or constantly responding, constantly checking your email, doing things. And if you break it down and you look at it, it's like, are those things really necessary? Is doom scrolling through social media nonstop all day? Yeah, you could say that's has to do with your social media for your business and stuff like that. Are those things really applicable to it? So when I started doing that, when I started looking at like all of these habits, and I started assessing, I actually wrote down, and I still do this periodically. I'll write down hour by hour on a notepad what I'm doing throughout the day. And I look back at it and say, where's my time being spent? And then I started saying, well, my time is being spent looking for work. Then I went back and said, why am I looking for work? Well, I'm looking for work because I can't be still. I can't be still because I got this crazy anxiety in me. So how would I ever be in a position to delegate things off, to let go of things, when those things are the way that I deal with this anxiety? So I didn't want to let those things go. I didn't want to scale my business in a fashion, because then what would I do? I'd have silence. I'd have to listen to these thoughts in my head. So that became kind of an eye opener. And my son being diagnosed with anxiety were two things that I was being a bad role model for him. So I took the time to say, I need to fix this. I can't continue to have this, right? I'm a multimillionaire, successful, and I'm still working like I have to, right? When is the point where enough is enough and I'm going to be able to enjoy my life? And so I really started focusing on meditation, daily meditation. I started focusing things like a journal, a gratitude journal, where I jot down things that I'm grateful for throughout the day. I started going for walks on a regular basis and scheduling time to just do nothing, time to think, time to process all of the stimuli throughout the day. If you're somebody who, right before you go to bed, when you're laying down or when you're standing in the shower, you come up with all of your best ideas, you are probably somebody who needs to spend a little bit more time, I would say relaxing, but not being filled with stimuli, going for walks, doing things like that. And what you'll find is those ideas come to you. The problems end up getting solved because you're relaxing and you're allowing your brain to take all of the stimuli that it had throughout the day and process it and sort it out. So when I started doing that, my business thrived, but I had to figure out a way to deal with that anxiety before I ever got to that. So we answered a few things. I know there was kind of a long response there, but that's basically what I ended up doing in my life. That was a complete game changer. And I'd really recommend anybody on here, if you keep hitting that ceiling and you keep just burning yourself out, really start to examine that. Examine the cause of that. And you may find that it's you, that it's something that you need to deal with.
Phil, that was amazing. That was amazing. And listeners, for context, so we'll share a link to Phil's book and also the James Clear Atomic Habits in the show notes as well. Definitely check out both those books. Phil, I'm going to get your book on Audible right after this.
Thank you.
You guys are on there. Yeah, I can't wait to jump into that. All right, now this is the last question for real, I promise.
Yeah.
Phil, for people that want to sign up for Textdrip, where can they go to create a Textdrip account?
Yeah, go to textdrip.com and sign up on there. You can always do a demo. The demo is, once again, completely free, so you can get on with a specialist and use it. We also have a sandbox method where you can actually test the things out on yourself for free and play around with our platform and learn about it. When you come on board right now, you'll get a 2-week free trial and 1,000 free credits to just try it out and see if it's going to work for you. We'll also help you get your campaign set up and all of that. Please, please, please take advantage of the demos. There's no reason not to. It's free. It's an hour of your time to make sure that you're going to get the best results on our platform you possibly can. So you can go on there and test it out. If you do have any questions about texting, text marketing, don't hesitate. Just reach out to me, Phil Portman. I can typically help you with any of your texting related problems or answering your questions, whether you're a customer of ours or not.
Amazing. Amazing. Once again, listeners, this is Phil Portman, the founder and CEO over at Textdrip. Phil, thank you for coming on today.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning in to Customer Growth Sessions. If you found it helpful, subscribe and give us a review. It helps us to grow the show. Looking for more SEO guidance on how to grow your business? Contact us at intergrowth.com/estimator or email me directly. You can reach me at pat@intergrowth.com. That's all for today. We'll see you again soon.